Try to make my end short.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to back to Manor ISD. Okay, in compliance with the Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, I call this meeting of the Manor Independent School District to order on
October 27th.
is present. This meeting has been duly called and notices of this meeting have been posted in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. The board will now adjourn into executive session at
5:02 p.m.
pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meetings Act, 551.071, 551.072, 551.074, and 551.129. See you in a bit. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back from the fall break. All right. So the board will reconvene in open session at,
6:01 PM.
I'm going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight is River Beckland, a fourth grade student at Blake Manor Elementary. River is a dedicated student. Woo! River is a dedicated student leader who gives back to her community and loves expressing her creativity through storytelling and writing. She's also represented her school in UIO competitions, earning recognition in both storytelling and creative writing. Please join me in welcoming River Beckland as she leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you so much. All right, board members, who would like to volunteer for the vision statement, mission statement? Go ahead, Trustee Dr. Thomas.
Manor ISD is the best district in Texas, where we provide an equitable education for all scholars and graduate them ready to become leaders in our community.
Thank you. Who would like to volunteer for the mission statement? Vision?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Collectively, as a community, Manor ISD provides equitable resources, a safe learning environment, high-quality educational services for all scholars to successfully achieve and reach their full potential.
Thank you, Trustee Rodriguez Barnett. We will now move on to recognitions.
So Team of 8, tonight we have our first student recognition of the year. So that's a very exciting moment for us. So tonight we have, we're gonna kick it off with a scholar recognition that reflects back to one of our goals. And that is specifically related to CCMR. And by 2028, 90% of Manor ISD scholars will graduate prepared for college, career, trade, and or military services based upon their individual goals. Before we get started in the recognition for our student here this evening, I only have one good hand, so bear with me. Once your name is called, if you'll go up to the left, you will shake the hands of our lovely trustees, and then we'll go ahead and take your picture. And then once you're all done, if you could just wait right there for a minute, because once we're done with student and staff recognitions, we're gonna go out there for a group photo. So let's get started. So our recognition tonight is for our National Merit Scholarship semifinalist. And tonight we're recognizing Manor New Tech High School senior Jaswant Thanakanti for being a semifinalist in the 2025 National Merit Scholarship Program, placing him amongst the top students in the nation recognized for his outstanding student achievement. So we can clap for that because that's pretty awesome. Also, fun fact, only about 16,000 students in the country earn this honor throughout the year through their PSAT scores. And as a semifinalist, he will learn later this year if he's a finalist. So that's awesome for him. So if we can get you right in the middle, we're going to go ahead and take a photo of you and the board. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, it's a little up so over here. If I can get one more trustee scooched over this way, I think we'd be awesome. Perfect. There we go. Okay, on three, everyone smile. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, and 3. All right, thank you so much. We go from students to staff, so let's go ahead and kick it off. Same instructions for our staff. When your name is called, just come up to the front. You'll come to the left over here, shake the hands of our Board of Trustees, and then you'll wait right here until everyone has been honored, and then we'll go ahead and take a group photo. From Blake Manor Elementary, Maria Ramos, first grade bilingual teacher, and Patty Chavez, senior administrative assistant. From Bluebonnet Trail Elementary, Arian Gass, fifth grade math and science teacher, and Cameron Moore, teacher assistant. From our Child Development Center, Tina Polgarin, our young threes. From Decker Elementary School, Christina Ayers, our fifth grade bilingual interventionist, and Graciela Reyes, instructional aide. From Lagos Elementary School, Julie Santos, first grade self-contained teacher, and Angela Abusafi, senior administrative assistant. From Oak Meadows Elementary School, Minnie Musada, K through 5th grade resource teacher, and Annabelle Rodriguez, FAC educational assistant. From Pioneer Crossing Elementary School, Gwendolyn Henson, 4th grade math and science teacher, and Jesus Castillo, lead custodian. From Presidential Meadows Elementary School, Eduardo Escobar Sanchez, second grade bilingual teacher, and Keisha Savannah, pre-K assistant. From Shadow Glen Elementary School, Rebecca Leal, 4th grade math and science teacher, and Juana Amanense, SPED, FAC. From Manor Rise Academy, Taylor Shervis, 7th through 8th grade, social sciences teacher, and Savannah Gonzalez, attendance clerk. From Decker Middle School, Tiffany Hernandez, 6th through 8th grade ESL, and Portia Stallion, ISS receptionist sub. From Manor New Tech Middle School, Yasmin Lau, 7th through 8th grade art, and Laura Mendoza, registrar. From Manor Excel Academy, Deonti McClellan, 9th through 12th grade math, and Maria Rosas, custodian. From Manor High School, Robert Duran, 11th through 12th grade CTE, and Karen Brown, admin assistant to assistant principals. And our final one for this month is Manor New Tech High School, Samuel Zatkaus, 9th through 12th grade band, and Martha Cuellar, cafeteria manager. You guys might have to get a little bit closer because I am just a little bit closer. It's cutting off at the end. And I'm going to tell you guys closer about 2 more times, so get as close as you can. Okay, ready? Now I can see everyone there, which is awesome. On 3. 1, 2, and 3. One more time. 1, 2, and 3. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Yay.
All right. We're going to move on to public forum. Mr. Martinez, do we have some people signed up?
We do. We have three. We have, first up is Kristen Turpin. Her topic of comment of discussion is MEX.
And the disclaimer?
Yeah.
Are you going to read it?
For each person present in the boardroom who wishes to address the board, you will have 3 minutes to speak. There are timers on each screens and one in front of you. I, the board secretary, will let you know when you have 1 minute remaining. Because of the topic posting requirements of the Open Meetings Act, board members are not permitted to answer any questions posed to the board by the patron, and no action can be taken on any issue presented during this time. Due to this being a regular board meeting, you will be allowed to speak on any topic, whether it is on the agenda or not, that is relevant to the district business or affairs. If you wish to ask questions of the board, you may submit them in writing, addressed to the superintendent's office, and the board may consider them at a subsequent meeting. If you are an employee or employee's representative, please be advised that the grievance policy deadlines are not waived. If you have documents to pass out to the board, please identify those documents and provide them to the board secretary. Finally, please be aware that the rules of decorum will be enforced during the public comment period as noted in policy BED regulations. Each participant is legally responsible for the content and consequences of his or her statements. First up is Kristen Turpin.
It's literally gone. Oh, got it. Okay. All right. Good evening. My name is Kristen Turpin, and I'm here to express my deep concern about the
I'm
changes
sorry,
to the
Ms. Turpin, one moment, please. Could we get that clock running? Sorry about that.
That's okay. I need every second. I started it over. It's fine. All right. Good evening. My name is Kristen Turpin. I'm a parent tonight, and I'm here to express my deep concern about the changes to the early college program and the harm these changes have caused to students, families, and to our community. Although I never wanted to speak in this capacity, I proudly speak for many who can't be here tonight and for the students, including my own, who deserve better. Manor Early College was once the district's proudest achievement, a place where students felt supported, challenged, and known. It was a program that worked. I often described it as a private school experience in a public setting where staff were deeply invested in the program, students were greeted by name, and leadership understood what an early college program needed to thrive. The result over the past 7 years proved its success. Feeling a sense of belonging is at the core of being human, and MEX excelled at this. The dismantling of the program, staff reductions, and staff not familiar with the needs of early college have created confusion, frustration, and a loss of identity for students, teachers, and families. The lack of transparency about what this school year would look like has left many feeling adrift and questioning why they remain here. What was once a vibrant, college-like environment has become unrecognizable. Staff are stretched too thin, the front office sits abandoned, and the commons, the heart of the campus, now sits empty. The coffee shop is closed, covered in garbage bags. Behavior issues like graffiti, vaping, and drug use have increased. Students report feeling unsafe in restrooms, and some say they're yelled at just for walking back to class. One student told me, "I feel like I'm in trouble just for existing here." When belonging and respect disappear, school culture breaks down. Losing MEX as it was has weakened what made the program successful. Early college needs administration specific to the needs of those students. They need smaller cohorts,
1 minute.
staff aligned with ACC, and targeted support, not placements that fail to prepare them for the demands of the program. Right now, it appears that one administrator is managing the advanced academics building alone, handling academics, safety, scheduling, and student needs both academically and emotionally. This is unsafe, unsustainable, and unfair. There's no dedicated early college counselor, and families and students are left relying on one person for everything related to early college, an impossible task. The program that once set Manor ISD apart now feels it has been erased. I urge you all to take action now by reestablishing a true MEX cohort and leadership structure, including a dedicated counselor and 2 APs, restoring student spaces that build community, providing adequate staffing, and recommitment to the values that once made this program thrive. Our students deserve a school built on trust, respect, and opportunity, not one diminished by cost-cutting decisions that undermine their future.
Time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Michelle Ponish, topic of discussion, Decker MS transfer students.
Good evening, Board of Eight. I am a teacher leader at Decker Middle School, and I'm beginning to lose faith in district leadership due to differences between being what is said and what is done. The concern I bring to you tonight is specifically related to the influx of students Decker received from Manor Middle at the start of the school year. At the end of last school year, teachers on our campus spoke with a high-ranking district leader about the concerns we had about students coming to us from Manor Middle School. Our concerns were specifically about the 8th grade students, as we had seen the chaos they caused in the classrooms and in the building as 6th graders. We'd been told by our colleagues from Manor Middle that the behaviors had not changed during their 7th grade year. We were promised that the students wanting to transfer would be required to fill out a transfer and go through an approval process prior to being accepted. Based on the in-district transfer policy, as found on the district website, students requesting transfer had to have specific academic requirements, no failing classes, attendance requirements, an attendance rate of 90% or higher, and behavioral requirements, no ISS, OSS, MAP, or JJAEP placements or expulsions. However, as the school year began, the teacher leadership team was informed by the campus administration that they were instructed to accept everyone. I believe this was due to the potential loss of funding from the state for reduced enrollment had these students gone to another district. This has been to the detriment of our campus. Several of these students are creating such disruptions that experienced teachers who traditionally are able to handle behaviors in the classroom are now writing referrals for the first time in years. The less experienced teachers are ready to give up on trying to be effective because these students tend to travel in packs due to scheduling limitations. I and a couple of other teachers looked at the students who are creating the biggest challenges in our classrooms and discovered that about a dozen of them are students on transfer from Manor Middle, and the majority of these have long disciplinary history. While a dozen students doesn't sound like very many for a campus of over 600 students, all it takes is one to create a classroom environment that is untenable for successful learning. As an F-rated campus, we need to ensure that the students who are on campus with a transfer will be building up the learning environment, not tearing it down. It is my belief and request that any of these transfer students who have already been identified as repeatedly disrupting the learning environment be returned to their home campus immediately to allow Decker to have the best possible opportunity to break free of our F status. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Courtney Walker, topic of discussion, Manor Early College.
Good evening. My name is Courtney Walker, and as I said, I'm here to express my concern and disappointment for the new transition that has happened with Manor Early College. Wait, I forgot. I think for some reason the name may have changed from Early College. I'm not sure, but that's kind of part of the problem. I know that Early college represented pride, purpose, and opportunity for the students who work hard, not only to be a high school student, but a college student. The name early college still exists with a lot of the other schools in the area, and I don't understand why it would be chosen to be removed from Manor. Why take away what stands for excellence and achievement from these students? I'm also deeply concerned about the effort to combine the schools. When the students clearly follow different academic tracks, early college students are managing a rigorous course load, balancing high school classes with college-level coursework. They need focused guidance and support that reflects those challenges. And combining these programs has diluted the structure and attention that helps these students succeed. Another serious concern is the lack of academic and counseling support. Too many students and parents are left uncertain about what classes are required, when some of these kids will be able to take the TSI to be able to take their ACC classes, what they need to do to get back on track for graduation if they haven't passed their TSI classes, and graduation requirements. These are conversations that should happen proactively, not after weeks of trying to reach someone. This summer, I spent weeks, maybe even a couple of months, trying to contact one administrator, and I don't place the blame on her. I place the blame on me not being able to get to her on the lack of leadership and how to place the right people and system in place to help these students be best served. When students don't have schedules, when students are scheduled for just 3 classes and you have one person doing it, that's unacceptable. After I met with this administrator, I had a great opportunity to get an understanding of what my daughter needs to graduate. And I think every parent deserves that. I shouldn't have to hunt down to find out what my daughter needs to do to be successful and graduate with her not only high school diploma, but with a college diploma as well. With having one principal, students also feel that it's much harder to reach out if they need to speak with someone. My daughter has expressed that she feels the new changes, she no longer feels that she has the same support or treatment that she experienced last year. She has shared that since they have combined, some of the new staff don't treat early college students as young adults, but instead speak to them harshly and yell at them as if they're just ordinary high school students.
Time's up. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it, Mr. Martinez?
It is.
Trustee?
That concludes.
Thank you. We're going to move on to closed session action items. Action item 8.1, consideration and approval of Educator Chapter 21 contract abandonment. Young Gloria, do I have a motion for 8.1?
Madam President, I
Trustee
move that the
Patterson?
board make a finding that there is not good cause to support John Gloria's resignation from their position at Manor ISD.
I have a motion by Trustee Patterson. Do I have a second?
I will second.
I have a second from Trustee Martinez. All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0. Closed session action item 8.2, consideration approval for proposed contract termination. Do I have a motion for 8.2? Yes. Can you?
Okay, I move to propose termination of the employment contract of Stephen Bryant and to authorize the superintendent to provide written notice of this action.
I have a motion by Trustee Howard for 8.2 for approval of proposed contract termination for Stephen Bryant. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Trustee Rodriguez Barnett. All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0. Now we'll move on to superintendent update. 9.1, student safety upgrade.
Thank you, Team of 8, and if you go forward one more. As always, we'd like to start off by just updating you on how many of the recommendations that we've gotten done. We're getting very close to the point where none of the recommendations, all the recommendations that can be done are going to be done, except for those that might be needing a funding source, such as the 2025 bond proposal. So we're down to 9 left of the recommendations. 3 of those that are left are needing bond. Many of those are related to Manor New Tech High School. And then there are 6 that are in progress or the parts are on order, and there is 1 that will probably take into the spring in order to complete it in total. So I thank you, Chief Mendez and Chief Yarbrough, for the work you've done. You've made a lot of progress on that. It's been a long road, but we are near the end. And I'll remind trustees in the community, we're actually getting a TEA audit in early December, and we are well on our way. They gave me an update this morning. We are in pretty good shape. I think the only thing that we're really trying to get done are getting some maps done. So if there are any architects that have interns that they would like to volunteer their time, we could use some help getting these particular maps done. Just a bug out there. So if you go forward. Point. So I got some points of pride. It's going to be Fine Arts Night tonight. Well, let's start with choir first before I do New Tech Band. So we have 6 Manor New Tech High School. By the way, Manor ISD is kind of like becoming like the choir mecca of Texas. It's like now the New Tech people are kind of getting involved in this as well. So we have a number of choir persons that are advancing to pre-area and did well in regional choir. So we got their names up there. So give them a little shout out there. As added incentive, of course, if you make it to state, you actually get your own slide and you get to come up here and shake hands. That's the incentive to get to state. You go forward. So here's some band stuff. Is our band director still in the audience? I told him he had to stay. So we have some students that are doing really well in band, and so they are moving on. So you can see the first chair in the all-region band. So congratulations to the jazz band. Go forward. This is interesting. So we have Manor ISD Theater Department got a District of Distinction Award in Galveston. There are only 3 districts in the entire state to get this distinction. And so you can see we got them at elementary, middle, and high school. So this is a new one for us. So congratulations to the Theater Department. And at the marching contest this weekend on Saturday night, we had the Education Foundation Gala, but our MC couldn't be there because he was with the band watching them march. And you can see they advanced to the area the next round. Is that right? Yep. So they are going on to the area marching contest. So congratulations to the entire Titan band. Woo. And then finally, Manor Mustang Band also did real well in 6A, so they are a growing program, and they got excellence at the judges. Unfortunately, they did move on, but they got 2 years to make up the ground to move forward in the future. So, up to them. And then finally, you can see we had 11 Manor High School students go to Region Choir auditions and 3 to pre-area. I know at least the young man, Isaiah Malik, he's like gone to state every year for the last 2 years. He's going for state number 3. I don't think they crown a state choir champion, but if they did, he might be it. But no, the choir is amazing. If you haven't gotten to see the Mustang Choir, they're excellent, and they're just showing it again. So congratulations to them as well. And I just can't get away with just reminding everyone, there is an election going on. November 4th is Election Day. There are 3 propositions out there to upgrade campus safety, upgrade technology, and to upgrade facilities. And so we did have a bunch of community meetings. Early voting is now. Just a reminder to our community that voting is at Manor Elementary School or the old Milk facility. It's behind Manor Middle School. If you drive Greg Manor Road, you can see the flags outside that say vote here. Just turn in there, and once you go inside the building, it's right to your left. The sign's guiding you the entire way there. So no matter what you vote or where you live, make sure you vote. Your voice counts at the state and local level. There's plenty of things on the ballot. So, okay.
Wonderful. Thank you. Information item 10.1, GMP 1 and 2. Dr. Ben.
Good evening, Team of 8. At this time, I am going to invite up our exceptional Director of Academics and Multilingual Services, who is going to make her inaugural presenting debut with you this evening. I'm going to save my voice for the turnaround plans, which is the next agenda item. At this time, Dr. Kendra Doyle, if you could come up, that would be great.
And I guess we should say, He is okay. He did have surgery on his neck, so we do need to save his voice some. So he is being a trooper coming out here tonight. We should have gotten you a higher mic for you, I think. So thank you, Dr. Doyle, for stepping in.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Team of 8. Good evening. I am excited to present to you tonight the growth progress measures for Goal 1, Progress Measure 1 and 2, Early Literacy and Early Math Performance. So when it comes to measuring our reading scores, we are using iStation as we did last year, but they have transitioned over to a new platform, which is a mirror learning. And when it comes to the Spanish language arts, they're testing Lectura, which is still on the iStation side, has not transitioned over yet to a mirror learning, but we anticipate that it will transition in early spring. So the targets that you see here are the goals that were set previously, with making sure that we're on track to meet our goal. And you can see that this year's are outlined. And here is the district data for beginning of year, first grade, kindergarten first, second, third, by grade level. What's important to note when you're looking at these graphs is the green and blue sections indicate on or above grade level. So when you're thinking about, this is a new report that's available in a mirror learning, it's a 4-tier report. And so when you're thinking about correlating to STAR performance, we're talking about meets and masters when you're looking at the green and the blue. When you're looking at the red and the yellow, we're looking at below grade level performance. The next several slides, I know you have this in your packet, so I'm going to let you look at the campus breakdowns. I'm going to move to the Spanish results. Thank you. So with Lectura, again, it still has not transitioned over yet to a mirror learning. And so you're seeing the 3-tier report. Once it transitions, we'll be able to have a 4-tier report. So when we're looking at this, it's important to note that the green represents on or above grade level performance, and the yellow and the red represent below grade level performance. You also in your packet have campus breakdowns of the Spanish language arts data. So when we are looking at the reading early performance reports, we noticed that in certain areas, particularly in Spanish language arts, there is some high initial proficiency being reported. Our goal is to monitor performance closely throughout the year and to make sure that students maintain or increase performance with our MOY and our EOY. Additionally, on the English language arts side specifically, we have noticed that students, when we look at the data, it's telling us that students are strong in phonological awareness, yet there is a support needed with decoding, and that really impacts comprehension. And so one of the things that we're doing with this is we're restructuring our leadership meetings to ensure that we have a focus on instruction with principals, assistant principals, instructional coaches, et cetera. And when it comes to high quality instruction materials and professional development, we have provided sessions throughout the year that will help with the implementation of the curriculum, but also respond to some of the things we're seeing in the data, such as making sure that we're providing support for structured literacy and foundational skills, because we're seeing the need with comprehension. Okay. So let's move on to GPM 2, which is our early foundational mathematics. We have a new platform that we're using this year. It's IXL. And since this is a baseline year, you'll see that we don't quite have the goals set up yet. We'll establish this once you've completed this baseline year. However, IXL does provide targets that increase throughout each administration of the diagnostic assessment. And if students continue to perform at or above the cut points for these that are established for each administration, this tells us that they're on track to perform at or above a grade level on the STAR assessment. When you're looking at the all district data for kinder, first, second, and third, it's important to note there are 2 shades of green, and both of those, and it's a 4-tier report again, so and both shades of green, that represents on or above grade level performance. When you're looking at the yellow and the red, you're looking at below grade level performance. In your packet, I believe you have campus breakdown, so you can look at that. One thing that we're looking at when we're talking about the data is that it does look really high in some areas, and so we're not necessarily having a celebration about that, but we are very much encouraged about this checkpoint. We will continue to closely monitor student performance as we continue to work through the year. And then, again, similar to reading language arts, when it comes to how we're responding to this data, we have revised our instructional leadership meetings. We have support through Region 13 for implementing the new high-quality instructional materials in the math classrooms. That includes professional development and coaching for each campus throughout the whole year. And then for both, and I apologize, I didn't mention this with literacy, but for both platforms, they provide ongoing individual differentiated learning paths for students. And so they are working on individualized learning paths assigned based on their outcome of their diagnostic assessment and pathways that are assigned by the teacher. One thing that's really nice about iExcel is as students are working in the platform, it provides real-time updates, so we're able to look at the system within any moment of time and see how students are in regards to being on track for grade level performance on STAR. That is the end of my
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Are there any questions?
We have a question
Yes.
from Trustee Patterson.
I understand you do these learning walks with the folks from Region 13. How often do those learning walks occur, and what is the mechanism to get the information from that learning walk team to the teachers? What is that mechanism?
So there's lots of different levels of learning walks happening, and probably teachers feel like there's always people coming through their classrooms. So one level is when we're with our principals, we're doing learning walks on campuses with all of the administrators. The way we collect data is in a tool called Bullseye, and we are collecting information on our instructional absolutes. Specifically, we're looking for how are teachers checking for understanding in the classroom. That data gets aggregated and given to the campus principal to turn around and provide those patterns and trends to their staff. Another round is when Region 13 comes through. We've done it as district, and they do walks with the campus. So at the district level, we have collected data based on the Bluebonnet implementation rubric. And so part of those are, first, are we using the materials? Then how well are we using the materials? Are we in our PLCs doing internalization? How well are we making sure that we're applying all the components of the program? And that feedback goes directly to the principal, the campus, and the coach that's assigned to each campus is working directly with leadership and teachers regarding the results of that data. Other walkthroughs that we do are when the coach from Region 13 comes on the campus and walks specifically with the campus teams to be able to look at what's happening and then coach in real time what they're seeing on the classroom level.
Is there a mechanism for hold on, make sure I say this appropriately. Is there a mechanism for the information that the teachers are getting? Is there a mechanism for leadership to know if there's movement? You talked about real-time data, and I noticed from second to third grade, we noticed there was a dip in the green. So what is the mechanism for from leadership to the principal level when that real-time data is concerning?
Yes, okay, thank you. So 3 things I'm thinking about. One is when we capture our walkthrough feedback in Bullseye, it's a new platform that we're using, and it does a really good job of capturing trends. One of our tools in there, like I mentioned, is the instructional absolutes. The other is a Bluebonnet walkthrough tool. And so principals and leadership teams can see all of the data aggregated over time, and they can search by specific indicators that they're looking for. The second thing is that we have all of our principals monitoring data on a regular basis, And so one of the ways we capture that is with a campus snapshot, and we talk about this data when it comes to our instructional leadership meetings. But in between those times, they're filling in, where are my kids in this performance to this? We have in checks for where kids are in relation to administering the Blue Bonnet module end of module assessments. So there's lots of checkpoints. We have our interims coming up, and the principals are responsible for not only collecting that data, but responding and coaching their teachers on that. And then the third thing is specifically for math and IXL, there are a couple of different pathways for students. One is based on their diagnostic data, they get an assigned pathway, and that, unlike Amira, updates in real time. So if I see that a student made a certain score on the diagnostic assessment and then they spend hours in this platform, it will update their progress and where they are, and it changes their personalized pathway as it goes based on proficiency of the standards. Additionally, IXL has other pathways that can be assigned. One, to target specific standards. So if a teacher is teaching or a PLC is looking at their standards and they see that there's an area in which their students aren't doing well, they can assign specific standard practice. And IXL also has a pathway that is aligned to the curriculum. So there's different places where students go based on what the need is. So I can be working on foundational skills that I need to access grade level content. I can work on specific TEKs, or I can be working on practice that's aligned to the lesson I'm learning today.
I remember last year, the assessments we were using for BOI and MOI, we thought they were highly correlated to the STAR, but that wasn't the case. How do we know that what we're utilizing this year is more parallel?
Yes, sir. That is a great question. And we are in constant conversation with IXL and Amira, letting them know that our need is that we must have data that's going to be predictive. And so part of that on the Amira side is that 4-tier report. That's a new report that we didn't have last year that they are advising us is much more strongly correlated to what STAR performance will look like. Same thing on the IXL side. We're having these meetings with them, and we're making sure that that is not the only indicator for us to determine if our students are on track. So as I mentioned, we're looking at our Blue Bonnet assessments, we're looking at our diagnostic data, we're looking at our interims. We're trying to have multiple checkpoints to determine if students are on track and to make instructional decisions to intervene when necessary.
Now, I would like to, just one note on that. That's been a problem statewide, and I'm more plugged in across the state. The state's own interim STAR assessment was found to be woefully disconnected to results on the actual STAR test, and this is a test that TEA itself put out. Right. So statewide, it's a real struggle to find something that's predictive. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there are certain tests like Amira that are promoted by TEA. So if you take that into account, then maybe it is more aligned, maybe it isn't. I don't know. We'll see. But that's part of the idea there, that they seem to be trying to align all the assessments and curriculum together. But we'll see. Of course, proof is in the pudding at the end.
I was wondering, you spoke to the specific early literacy needs, which I think is incredible to get really down into it. How is this aligning with the work that our district is currently doing with the reading academies? And has there been any follow-up with teachers who have graduated from the reading academies to see how that has impacted their instructional success?
So from our literacy department, we make sure that any instructional materials that we're using or any professional development that we're providing aligns to the science of teaching reading. And that's why we've had last year and this year such an emphasis on making sure that we are providing explicit and direct phonics instruction and foundational skills instruction. And so one thing that we know is that we have had a lot of new teachers, and as we're onboarding them, if they have started in time, we're enrolling them in the reading academies. There are some that have started after the date that our cohorts have begun. And so while they are getting updates on the science of teaching reading in our trainings, they will be enrolled to start in the Texas Reading Academies next year. I will say the Texas Reading Academies are really intense, and that's good. However, it's not enough. So what we try to provide from our department is ongoing support to remind teachers what are our best practices when it comes to implementing the science of teaching and reading. How do we continue to expand that? It's looking at foundational skills and making sure that we're focused on comprehension and writing as well. So that is something that we will continue to provide ongoing professional development around. While the reading academies are great, there's more support that we need to provide.
I love that. And do you think that when we make the shift from lectura to Amira in the spring, do you anticipate any issues with the consistency of data between BOI, MOI, and EOI along with that shift?
Yeah, that's a great question. I know that we will have access to the 4-tier reporting, and according to Amira, that is a much better report when we're saying we're looking for how are kids expected to do on STAR when it comes to the performance bands. And so we don't have access to that report now, so we hope that when we transition over, we will have that. There are available supports right now on the Amira side for Spanish tutoring, but still some of the instruct, which is, just the skills development piece of it, is in lectura. And the advantage for this moving over into Amira is that there's AI, there's different kinds of feedback that the students get. There's a lot more adaptive and individualized pathways. And so we are looking forward to that all coming over to the same system. When that happens, we will definitely figure out how we can compare, what happened at beginning of year versus now we have new reports and what does this mean for us and are we on track or not? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I had a question regarding the learning walks. Are we seeing a correlation with the teacher feedback and the student progress, the student data? And how often are we calibrating amongst the coaches from Region 13 that visit, because they're assigned, you said they were assigned to certain campuses that they support. How often are we calibrating all together?
So the district walks are happening monthly. Now, every campus has a dedicated coach, and they have minimum 10 coaching sessions with that one campus. So one of the things that we did is we gave, as soon as we got the names for the coaches, we gave those to the principals, and the principals made a schedule for when their coaches are coming. So that's the minimum layer of support, and when those coaches go in, it's really any and everything that's needed. They're walking, they're collecting data, they're coaching teachers, principals, leaderships. PLCs is a big priority in making sure that as teachers transition to this curriculum, they have a process for internalizing and adjusting lessons in the way that makes sense. And there's some components of the new lessons that don't necessarily feel like traditional teaching, and so we are having coaching conversations around like this piece is the introduction of a standard or a skill that you're not going to finish today. It's recursive, and so you're going to let that be. You're going to come back to it. We're going to further concept develop, and here's where it like comes to the full mastery of the TEAC, which is not necessarily in this lesson, and so they have been really supportive in helping provide different tools that help us see the big picture as opposed to like, we have to teach all of this right now, right? And like, here's where it comes back again and again. And so, like I said, at the district level, we're doing the walks. Ethan Varela is our math coordinator. He's with them on every single walk. Dr. Shamani, Dr. Benson, and I have also been participants in that. Ethan is also going out to the campuses when they're visiting. A lot of the times the schedules conflict, but the principals are setting the dates and the agendas for individual coaches to come and work with their campuses from Region 13.
I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
Are some of those learning walks unscheduled, or are they all scheduled?
So both happen. When it's with Region 13, they are scheduled.
Okay.
Us as a curriculum department and a department of school leadership, we do walks, and they're not necessarily always announced. And so we at least like to let the principal know that, hey, we're on your campus, but I've done cold walks of classrooms just to see what's happening. We know that sometimes when it's an announced walk, teachers can step up their game a little bit because they know people are coming, so we try to do a mixture of both. The Region 13 walks are scheduled.
Oh, Dr. Doyle, I was just going to say, since your coordinators are back here and took the time out of their schedule to stay with us tonight, would you mind introducing them?
Yes, please. So Adela Perry is our K-12 coordinator for English Language Arts. And thank you. Thank you. And Ethan Barella is our K-12 coordinator for mathematics. I don't see the rest of the team, but they are probably watching on the live stream. So Julio Hernandez is our dual language coordinator. Lara Lopez is our secondary ESL and newcomer support services coordinator. We have Beth Chapaton, who's our testing and accountability senior coordinator. And then we also have Aries Leffridge, who is our MTSS coordinator.
Thank you. So, Dr. Doyle, one last question, and it's just, I don't know, I've done in a different industry from switching from one software to the other, and you're talking about Lectura and
Amira. Yes, ma'am.
So, because we rely on data and everything, I'm just wondering, like, do you see any gaps in real transition data? Are they going to be able to interface? I just don't know. I just want to see what we can forecast with the transition.
Yes, and I honestly, I have these same questions, and we are having these ongoing conversations. And so what I can do is, I know that right now, their timeline for transition is early spring, and everyone who's using Amira across the state is asking the same question of what is this going to look like when we transition? So I can make sure that I follow up with an update when they give us information about when specifically will this happen, how can we, find some continuity between the reports since we're switching mid-year, and what does this mean for our student performance? Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And great job. Your first presentation, you did amazing. We have an amazing board. Really great job.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to 10.2, turnaround plan for Shadow Glen Elementary. Dr. Benz.
Okay, team of 8, I'm back, and I'm very thankful for the great job that Dr. Doyle did. I'm also not as thankful because now I have to follow up after her, and she was quite articulate, so I got to bring my game here today. So I'm going to be talking to you about the turnaround plans for our 3 campuses, Shadow Glen Elementary School, Decker Elementary School, and Decker Middle School. We'll start with Shadow Glen, but for all 3 campuses, TEA requires a turnaround plan when a campus has 2 or more consecutive unacceptable F ratings. So that's what brings us here today. And as we talk through a very high level, high altitude overview of the turnaround plans, I've only got a few slides for each. I know you've seen them. The turnaround plans are here attached in the board book, and they're about a little under 60 pages. So I'm happy to talk through additional details as we go. But one thing I want you to keep in mind that we are the overall goal for all 3 campuses is to achieve a C rating or better. D's not going to cut it for us moving forward. We have to leap over the D area and get a C rating for 2025, 2026. Our focus areas to get there, number 1, first and foremost, is going to be student growth. And I'll talk to you about the why in just a second relative to accountability. But we have students at all different levels. We've got students that are high. You just heard from our semifinalist a minute ago and took pictures with them. We've got students that got a lot of room to grow. So one of the things that we can do is take students, and we need to do is focus on taking students wherever they are and growing them. And so we'll talk more about that in a minute. We also need to look at those different student demographic groups and make sure that we're identifying on each campus which groups need some additional attention to grow. And our overall system for developing the plans is utilizing TEA's Effective Schools Framework. So I promise I won't repeat that slide 3 times as we go. In terms of a little bit more information about the core goals. So Domain 2A, I know you all know this, but for the public out there, Domain 2A is all about student growth. And done right, especially at the elementary level, Domain 2A can account for 70% of your overall accountability rating. And so I know I'm going to say 70% 2 times, but so on our student growth domain 2A, our target is 70% or higher. Our target is actually 100%, okay? We need we want, and this is our job, to have every single student grow and learn. And so in order to get to a C rating or above, we need to have 70% of our students demonstrating a leveling up, according to domain 2A. And then domain 3A is looking at that, closing the gaps and shooting, really striving for parity between demographic student groups. And so, for instance, with Shadow Glen Elementary, which is the first TAP we're going to be talking about, the turnaround plan, where we identified student groups that needed additional targeted support were African American students, students receiving special education services, and our emergent bilingual students. And you'll notice as we go through the 3 turnaround plans, they're slightly different for each grouping. When we look at root causes and what we need to focus on with Shadow Glen Elementary and systems-wide, because really I know I've been talking to you for 15 months now, it takes a systems approach with an individualized eye to these things. The first thing that jumps out in our main strategy is lever 4. I know you're thinking, why start with lever 4? There's 5 levers to the Effective Schools Framework. I'm going at them in order of priority. So lever 4 is our number 1, what we're standing on, and that is the high quality instructional materials, and that is making the change with the Bluebonnet math implementation. And I think with the additional questions asked in the last agenda item, you've got a pretty good understanding. I'm not going to go into detail unless you need more relative to what that looks like with our partnership with Region 13. I do want to say, relative to language arts, which is in the full turnaround plans, we are also, just to add on to what was said in the last agenda item, we are in a strong, we have a LASSO 3 grant for a strong foundations planning year this year for language arts, where we really revisit based on our science of reading and what we've learned in the last couple of years, based on our experiences with our current language arts and reading curriculum, what is our philosophical belief around reading, and is our curriculum up to the challenge, or do we need to look at adopting a different curriculum? So that is a committee that is in the process of being started right now for language arts, but just as an aside. But that Bluebonnet math implementation in partnership with Region 13, K-5, is our main strategy. Along with that, when we look at the root cause of the alignment issues with the math curriculum itself, then that compounds, that's concepts and skills, right? And whether it's covering the grade level content. Then we look at the instruction itself, and compounding that is the rigor level. And is the level of rigor being taught at that grade level, at the level dictated by that grade level standard? And those were the 2 root causes that we are hanging our hat on. And then with Shadow Glen Elementary, we looked at how our principal there, who's in with us tonight, did such a great job of building school culture with student leadership, with celebrations and affirmations, but looking at how do we minimize the amount of instructional minutes lost within a master schedule so that that school culture remains, and that amazing feeling you're getting now when you go to Shadow Glen is still there, but that we are also maximizing our instructional minutes. And then also, there's always going to be a focus on classroom observations and instruction, which you talked about a little bit before, and we'll talk about again. In terms of strategies, I already kind of dipped into these, so I won't go into them ad nauseum, but you got the Bluebonnet math implementation in the instruction strategy. We've brought in some support for reading instruction and for grades 3, 4, and 5 on 2 of the 3 campuses on Shadow Glen Elementary, and then we've made an investment that you're going to vote on whether we're going to expand tonight with Papaya Tutoring, a one-on-one tutoring platform that's outcomes-based, which means we set goals together, and if we don't make our goals, they only get partial payment, which I love, and if we do make our goals, they get a bonus, which I'll pay out of my own pocket if I have to, for when that happens.
Do we record that?
Hey, don't say.
Do we record that part?
It's live.
I got 20 on it. So, in terms of leadership and campus culture, no, not 20K. I got 20. But we have the campus leadership team at Shadow Glen Elementary is involved in the instructional leadership pathway program at Region 13, which is focused on growing the campus leadership team in their ability to be discerning classroom observers and really effective purveyors of coaching feedback that teachers can put right into place to impact student outcomes. That involves trainings at Region 13 and also having a coach visit on site. Also involves some coaching for me. Secondly, the master schedule has been reworked and massaged to still include the celebrations and affirmations while minimizing loss of instructional minutes and interruptions. In terms of monitoring progress, you've chatted a lot about monitoring progress already in the previous agenda item. I can go into any one of these that you would like to. But with that being said, it's open for comments from the trustees, and then we'll have an opportunity for any of the public to make comments.
Do we have any questions? I believe Trustee Patterson's going to the mic.
I just want to make sure, since you do have the principal here tonight, that as part of the process, that there's a question in the process that says to the principal, is there anything else you need? And whatever that principal needs to get the job done, that needs to be part of the process as well.
The one thing I will say about this particular principal is she is not shy about sharing
Her
needs and requests. And so we've got some of them in play and some of them she's still hoping for, and others that might even be a year in the making in terms of some decisions relative to language arts for 26, 27, but absolutely. And we have 3 principals who are pretty good at advocating. So,
And what they need.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do we have any other questions from our trustees? If we don't, then I will open it up to the audience if there's any questions from the audience regarding the Shadow Glen turnaround plan. I think we can move to the next one, 10.3, turnaround plan for Decker Elementary. Thank you.
Okay. So with the turnaround for Decker, well, it seemed like I skipped a lot of slides here. Get back here. Okay. Decker Elementary, same things come into play. We're shooting for that C. We're focusing on student growth. When we look at the demographic groups, the focus on for Decker Elementary, it again is the African American students and students receiving special education services. We look at root causes. Again, this is a systemic issue relative to the mathematics curriculum and the rigor with mathematics in particular. And then I'll talk about it in a little bit. Starting last year, the Decker Elementary team has been a part of a really robust teaching. It's called the Texas Instructional Leadership Initiative, relative to growing as instructional leaders and having a particular coach. I really got a lot of coaching as well. The principal supervisor and principal manager is involved as well. Dr. Jackson and I have been on that journey together in many ways, along with her instructional coach, her AP, and one of her master teachers has been deeply involved as well on that lever 1, strong leadership and planning. This is year 2 of that Texas Instructional Leadership program through the Effective Schools Framework Focus Support Grant. In terms of instruction and intervention, one Decker Elementary specific strategy you'll see is that fourth bullet under instruction and intervention. That is a really intriguing pilot program called Opportunity Culture, which really leverages the expertise of the best teachers on that campus. And so what it does is it frees up some of their time during each school day to mentor other teachers at their grade level, and also to support a wider swath of the students in terms of small group interventions and support. And so that is a Decker Elementary specific strategy that is in play along with that Texas Instructional Leadership Program. Again, Papaya Tutoring. Excuse me. Throat's giving out on me here. That actually started last week. We were able to start the small beginning of the beginning with Papaya Tutoring last week at Decker Elementary. And one of the things that I was really intrigued about it, that there were a lot of questions about, was could Papaya Tutoring put their money where their mouth is in terms of being an international organization and offering a myriad of languages. And right from the start, as I was looking and seeing the kids that were identified, we see kids getting tutoring in Spanish, of course. That's their bread and butter. But we've got like 5 kids getting tutored in Pashto and other languages. And so no matter what the language is, they are combing the globe for tutors. And that one-on-one support in the student's native language, I think, is going to be the game changer for us this year. So it's live, it's virtual, online, one-on-one. And then again, this is the monitoring piece. We'll be reporting back to you both in your Friday reports, and we'll be reporting back monthly and quarterly. And we're over at these campuses talking to them using something we've developed called their Principal Leadership Scorecard. That's another thing that is something we're using to quickly identify and look at progress and how we're going, for every couple of weeks. So that concludes my presentation for Decker Elementary, and I'd like to open it up for questions, and then Madam President, at your pleasure, the public comment.
Yeah, do we have any questions from our trustees? We're good, I guess. If we don't have any questions from our trustees, do we have any questions from the audience regarding Decker Elementary turnaround plan? I don't see no one jumping up, so, raising their hand, sorry. I will move on to 10.4, turnaround plan for Decker Middle School.
Okay, so Decker Middle School, same setup with domain 3, closing the gaps with demographic student groups. The student groups needing additional support on their campus are emergent bilingual, students receiving special education services, and Hispanic students, not Latino students falling into that emergent bilingual, but the other column. So some root causes that are a little bit unique to, some of them are the same and some are unique to Decker Middle School. Math was across the whole system, as you know, and thanks to your approval, we made the shift to Bluebonnet Math kindergarten through 8th grade and into Algebra 1. We didn't do geometry in Algebra 2 because they don't offer that yet. But in terms of, again, the rigor levels, we needed to work on that, and Bluebonnet Math is at the correct level of rigor, and with our product advisors from Region 13 and with our coaching, we are working to ensure that the standards and the Bluebonnet lessons are being implemented with fidelity. And I can tell you that at all 3 of these campuses and across the district, Bluebonnet Math is being implemented at a very high level. Now, with fidelity, that's something we're working through. Building the capacity to do it well is something we are working through, but implementing it and making the best attempt as we learn, that is at a very high level. And I'm super proud of that, and that the principals have been working towards that. At Decker Middle School, one of the things that they noticed with their academic data with their students was a need to focus on writing. And that was one of their big pushes going back into their campus improvement plans, was writing proficiency across the curriculum and working to ensure that students were getting more writing support and more opportunities to write and more structured writing instruction, because they found that it was below grade level and below the state average in that area. The other piece, relative to levers 1 and 3, continuing to work with that team on teacher observation and feedback. That's the growth. That is the way to go. In terms of what you said, unscheduled visits, a lot of that falls onto the principals. Now, we can go over there whenever we want, but the principals and the APs are going into rooms every single day, and they've got, they're trying for 12 a week. But what we want to do is focus on the quality of the feedback, because that's going to be key. Making sure that people get feedback, which they can get it directly through that Bullseye digital platform, but they can also, that face-to-face, there's no substitute for that face-to-face feedback. The second piece relative to Decker Middle School that I know you know, and we've been talking about, is as we made a transition to a new principal, that we are really continuing to strengthen the structures and processes in place relative to, like some people call it how we roll, or the Decker Middle School expectations, relative to, whether it's the student handbook, it's also the staff handbook, and really ensuring consistency so that, and that we can have that safe, orderly, and calm environment where students can let their guard down and they can be open to learning. And so that is one of the main areas of focus. I think I pretty much chatted all of those improvement strategies up through the previous slide, and I'm going to catch your question before I go on.
Yeah, if this particular school, this is middle school, if they think writing is an issue, can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Okay.
For sure.
What are we looking at prior, like the 5th and 4th grade levels, to make sure that the writing is proficient at those levels, so that?
Yes, and so, absolutely, and part of that is continuing with that examination of our, yes, ma'am? I'm sorry, I don't know if were you signaling as well? Or you're like, yes, what he said, okay, for sure. What we're doing as a system to ensure that we are strengthening our actual formalized instruction in writing. We did purchase a system through HMH called Writable at the elementary level that people like. We're still working to make sure it gets implemented into our systems at the younger levels, so that when they get to Decker Elementary, they are better prepared. But it builds on itself. And so, but they're not going to wait for the they're not waiting at Decker Middle, and they're jumping in and really looking at what Lead Forward talks about in terms of thinking, talking, and writing every day, every lesson.
And is that included in, or at the very least encouraged among all content areas, as far as them getting exposure to writing through their assignments?
We need to do more work with that, but yes. I think one of the things I'm not sure that we have well delineated in our curriculum is formalized instruction in writing, but I'm going to get out over my skis if I say anything more. I may need to go back to the team and do some more research before I make a comment. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, the mic.
Or do you have planned professional development between the elementary school? Do you have planned staff development between that elementary school and, well, between the schools, the feeder schools? So that that communication is ongoing and there's a thread, is not happening in isolation.
So I can tell you that I love that comment, and we need to do more of that at a slightly larger level that is some of what we're trying to accomplish at the monthly principal meetings. And that's part, as we do what we talked about another time, campus snapshots, where all principals walk in groups, in small groups of 2 and 3, and we walk the entire campus. One thing is to give that principal a snapshot of every single, or as many classrooms as we can. But the other piece, which is equally important, is having those conversations. So when we're at an elementary, you know, we're the middle school principals, the high school principals are with us, and we're having those conversations and intentionally mixing the groups. When we go to the high school, when we go to the middle school for their monthly campus snapshot, then that'll be the same, you know, it'll be back down. But that vertical alignment is something I know we can do better at, and I need to be more intentional about.
It's critical to inspect what you expect. So if you're expecting that the schools are writing and they know how to write, you have to inspect.
All right. Do we
I
have?
have one more question, if that's
Of course. Trustee Dr. Lowry.
I noticed across all 3 turnaround plans that we're discussing the targeting of providing better special education support to really increase student growth in that area. I know that to say special education is such a blanket statement when there are so many differentiated needs within that umbrella, but I'm curious how we are personalizing support for that department, since obviously generalized tactics that's literally the opposite of special education. So how are we providing support specifically to that targeted demographic?
And I'd like to jump in on that one. There's a couple of things that have been going on. One of the things that you look at across the entire district, you notice the first thing on each of the plans was the same thing. And that's what's a reflection in the scores, why we see so many Fs and Ds. There is a system-wide issue with the alignment of what is being taught to the curriculum and to what is being tested by the state. I mean, I can see that as a former principal walking around campuses all across the district. It's widespread, and that's where we have scores. So what I'm getting at is we will get gains just in the special education area by actually hitting on the curriculum and ensuring that not just the special educators, but the general educators that have them as inclusion are linking the curriculum specifically to what needs to be tested. We can accommodate all day long. If we're not accommodating the right thing, it's not going to make a difference. And so that is probably one of the largest things. We did make a change in the organizational chart too to also help better connect the general education, I'm sorry, not the general education, but the campus operations side with the special education side. Our deputy superintendent now works with both the chief of schools and the chief academic officer, which they're oftentimes in organizations and school systems in particular, if the special education falls under this department and the schools fall in this department, there's not as much connection as needed. And so one of the reasons I made that move is so that there is a better coordination between the two sides when needed. For example, I won't go into detail, but Mr. Bean knows he and I were just having a chat, and I said, this is a good example of exactly what I'm saying. You have a need to work with principals on this. We need to find out, okay, what level and what amount of time needs to be taken in the principal office in principal meeting in the context of what they're doing. That's why we have a deputy superintendent to oversee that and to make sure that the right amount of time is spent. And, you know, that cuts both ways. You know, sometimes special ed wants too much, sometimes campus wants too much. But I think those two moves alone at a district system-wide level, I think is going to be the biggest bang for your buck. Now, as we move forward as a district, you're going to have to fine-tune as you go along. And I know Mr. Bean mentioned some things, and Dr. Harvey did back at our last presentation in special education, but I won't go into those specifics.
The only thing I would add to that is that Mr. Bean has been a valuable partner throughout the turnaround planning process, and along with Aries Leffridge relative to MTSS, we all we've come to this understanding together of how important really assisting students with special education services, any struggling students, is gaining access to that tier 1 instruction during that core class. And so how Do we support the teacher that, that teacher of record in the classroom, along with any additional teaching support from special education services, so that when the student is in that Tier 1 instruction, really we are all about this inclusion piece where they're there and able to access the grade level content. That's the key. And Mr. Bean has drawn up some plans for how we can do that. We've got our MTSS support down, joined up with with Dr. Doyle and her Tier 1 team, so that we can work together right from the start to make sure that it's not just here's special ed training, here's the gen ed training, and here's the kids over here getting this, and here's the other group getting this. How do we work together to plan the curriculum at a depth where it accounts for the needs of different students, no matter what they are, and that all teachers are trained and they're all our students, not some are theirs and some are his and some are hers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from our trustees? All right, do we have questions from the audience regarding Becker Middle School turnaround plan? We have a question.
Actually, a little bit of clarification for some of the questions. As a Decker Middle School teacher, one of the things that I can tell you is that we are writing across the curriculum. It is not just in our reading classes. It is in social studies and science and math. It's in our elective teaching classes as well. We are writing across the board. At the beginning of the year, during our professional development, we actually did a training on using a races strategy to ensure our students knew how to answer the short constructed response questions that they get on the STAR test. And that is really what did a lot of damage on our numbers last year on that test. The students were unsure how to respond or chose not to. So we are wanting to make sure that they are well prepared for that as they are going into this school year and through the STAR test at the end of the year. That's what I was wanting to clarify regarding that, because we do write across.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I guess we can move on to the next item. 10.5, 2019 bond updates. We have any questions? Are you gonna, no? Okay.
This is for information only. Joe, you want to just flip to the pictures in case they have questions? But if you have no questions, we're just here to show the public where we're at.
Thank you, yeah.
Just recap
there you
real
go.
quick, some pictures just to show y'all, some pictures here, some updates that we have. I'll start off by the turf, put some pellets out there, so it's just for safety. And those have been at Manor Senior High School, or Manor High School, sorry, complex. As well, put some bollards out there in front, so that just helps with any traffic accidentally getting into our sidewalk. And also, the fencing project that we have out there, it's actually 3 little fencing projects all at the same time. The black box, and then we have some in the cafeteria area and the detention pond out there. And then lastly, we have our lock systems already here at Manor New Tech. Actually, the hardware was installed, but we were waiting for confirmation with ESD 12 with Travis County to give us the go-ahead and start locking them up. We have to have their permission. So Armando did that walkthrough today with them, and so as of today, all of them are locked except for maybe 2.
Any questions? Okay, just real
I have
quick.
a comment. It's been a long day for you, hasn't it, sir? Armando. Thank you for coming out. I saw them, I was picking up a kiddo today early, and I saw them doing the walkthrough. It's really exciting to see this, for us to be where we need to at a state level and making sure that our kids are safe. So thank you for all of the work that your team's done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. One last question. What's the percentage, and this is just, since we're already talking about that, of the 2019 bond that has been completed?
Everything on the bond has actually been complete. 100% of the initial bond has been completed. All the additional projects that we have going on, probably about, I'm going to say 90% of it. We might have about 10% here and there. It's a tail end, but these are the additions that we have from
The interest.
interest, yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
I have a question. You said all but 2 are locked. Is there a reason why there are
Yeah,
some that
there,
are locked?
Armando would know a little bit more about that. That was, that has something to do with architects, I think, with design. And I think finishing off a plate that we found somewhere that they needed to actually put on there.
You can always phone a friend.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. We can move on to, where are we at? Multilingual, 10.6 Multilingual Education Annual Report.
This has been posted to Board Book it's only there for questions if you have them. Otherwise, we will move on at your discretion, Madam President.
There's no questions. We'll move on to 10.7 Monthly Financial Report.
Good afternoon. Good evening. So for the third consecutive time in the year, the school district has achieved a superior rating on its first financial rating. This is the district's scorecard, and basically to encourage school districts to better manage their finances and to allocate the best possible into direct instruction. So to support your earlier request for principals, this tool measures how much we invest for direct instruction.
Can you go to the next slide so we can all clap at that A? There it is.
There we go. Yes.
There it is.
Superior.
So that was an increase of 2 points. Previous year, we scored a 90, and this goes back to data from 23-24.
And the rest of this is up for questions, if you have them, or just information only for the financial reports.
Yes, we will do the actual public hearing in November.
Okay. Well, if we don't, do we have any questions from our trustees? No, we're good to go. Thank
Just
you.
a thank you to your team.
Thank you to your team once again. All right, so we'll go on to 10.8. If there's any questions on the quarterly investment report. If there's none, we'll move on. All right, to 10.9. This is my point of pride for my trustees, that I have to read a whole book. So here we go. Under the State Board of Education rule, completing required continuing education each year of service is a basic obligation and expectation of any sitting board member. As board president, I am required to announce the name of each member who, one, has completed the required continuing education, two, has exceeded the required continuing education, and three, is deficient in meeting the required continuing education. The requirements for trainings are measured as of the first anniversary of the date of the trustee's election or appointment, or 2-year anniversary of his or her previous training as applicable. There are 8 training areas for board members continuing education. 1, local district orientation. 2, orientation to the Texas Education Code. 3, post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code. 4, team building. 5, additional continuing education. 6, evaluating student academic performance and setting goals. 7, identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children. 8, school safety. To the extent applicable to each board member, I will announce the completion or deficiency as to the required training. For members who still have time remaining to complete required training, I will announce those board members who have scheduled timely training and those who have not yet scheduled the training. At the conclusion of this announcement, I will announce any board members training in excess of the continuing education requirements. Local district orientation.
The following board members have completed local district orientation to the Texas Education Code training. Trustee Patrick Patterson, Trustee Stacy Howard, and Trustee Dr. Caitlin Lowry. Orientation to the Texas Education Code. The following board members have completed orientation to the Texas Education Code training. Trustee Patrick Patterson, Trustee Stacy Howard, and Trustee Dr. Caitlin Lowry. Post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code. The following board members have completed post-legislative update to the Texas Education Code training. Ana Cortez, Dr. Mary Thomas, Fabian Martinez, Patrick Patterson, Stacy Howard, Stephanie Rodriguez Barnett, and Dr. Caitlin Lowry. Team building. Note, the entire board and the superintendent must participate in the annual team building session. This training should be completed by the time of the annual announcement. The following board members and team have completed the annual team building training. Dr. Robert Sarmani, Ana Cortez, Dr. Mary Thomas, Fabian Martinez, Patrick Patterson, Stacy Howard, Stephanie Rodriguez Barnett, and Dr. Caitlin Lowry. Additional continuing education, note, 10 hours for first-year members, 5 hours for subsequent years. The following board members have completed the additional continuing education requirements. Ana Cortez, Dr. Mary Thomas, Fabian Martinez, Patrick Patterson, Stacy Howard, Stephanie Rodriguez Barnett, and Dr. Caitlin Lowry. Evaluating student academic performance and setting goals. Note, this training must be completed every 2 years. The following board members have completed the biannual training on evaluating student academic performance and setting goals. Patrick Patterson, Stacy Howard, and Dr. Caitlin Lowry. Identifying and reporting abuse, trafficking, and other maltreatment of children. Note, this training must be completed every 2 years. The following board members have completed the biannual training on identifying and reporting abuse and trafficking. Ana Cortez, Dr. Mary Thomas, Fabian Martinez, Patrick Patterson, Stacy Howard, Stephanie Rodriguez Barnett, and Dr. Caitlin Lowry. School safety. This training must be completed every 2 years. The following board members have completed the biennial training on school safety. Ana Cortez, Dr. Mary Thomas, Fabian Martinez, Patrick Patterson, Stacy Howard, Stephanie Rodriguez Barnett, and Dr. Caitlin Lowry. Exceeding requiring continuing education. Board member Ana Cortez exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 32.75 additional hours. Board member Dr. Mary Thomas exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 7.5 additional hours. Board member Fabian Martinez exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 28.75 additional hours. Board member Patrick Patterson exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 12.25 additional hours. Board member Stacy Howard exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 20.75 additional hours. Board member Stephanie Barnett exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 41.25 additional hours. Board member Dr. Caitlin Lowry exceeded the required amount of continuing education training by 18.75 additional hours. Please give a round of applause to all our amazing Board of Trustees. Team of VA exceeding hours, and if you notice, our meetings are focused on student outcomes and student outcome goals.
And if I may, Trustee Ms. Cortez, I would like to remind everybody that they don't get paid for all these extra hours, so thank you so much for volunteering your time to take care of all this.
Yay. Ooh, I need water now. It was a long script. Okay, so now we're going to go to consent agenda. Do I have a motion for consent agenda 11.1 to 11.14?
Yes, I move that the board approve the consent agenda items 11.1 through 11.14 as presented.
I have a motion by trustee Dr. Lowry to approve 11.1 through 11.14. Do I have a second?
I second that.
I have a second by trustee Howard. If there's no further discussion, I will entertain a motion. All those in favor? Motion passes 7-0. Thank you. Action items 12.1. consideration and approval of foreign trade zone tax equivalency and contribution agreement with Applied Materials.
Madam President?
I have a motion by trustee Rodriguez Barnett.
Yeah, I move that the board approve the foreign tax zone equivalency and contribution agreement.
Thank you, trustee. Do I? Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. I have a second by trustee Rodriguez Barnett, trustee Martinez. All right, and do I have a discussion? No? All those in favor? Thank you so much. Motion passes 7-0. Hold on, okay. Now, 12.2, discussion and approval of TASB board nominations.
Madam President,
Trustee Patterson? has a
I
motion.
recommend that the Board of Trustees nominate President Ana Cortez as candidate for the Region 13 seat on the TASB board, STASB board.
Thank you, trustee Patterson. Do
I second that.
I have a second by trustee Howard and trustee Dr. Thomas. I saw your hand. Thank you. All those in favor? Passes 7-0. I really appreciate your trust. Thank you so much. You guys are an amazing board, and I'll make sure I'll make you proud. All right, so let's confirmation of the next regular board meeting.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
I have a motion by Dr. Thomas to adjourn the meeting today at 7:37.
I second.
I have a second by trustee Dr. Lowry. All those in favor? Yay! 7-0 adjourned at 7:37, just 3 minutes over the last. But it was focused on student outcomes. More